All right, let's dive into something that honestly feels like it's been pulled straight out of a sci-fi movie. Decoding our silent inner thoughts. But here's the wild part. This isn't science fiction anymore. It is happening right now.
So this is really the ultimate question, isn't it? And it's a question that some brand new research from Stanford University is forcing all of us to think about in a very, very real way. And the answer? Well, it turns out it's kind of yes, but with a huge asterisk.
74%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the peak accuracy researchers got using a brain implant to translate a person's inner speech, that silent conversation you have in your own head, directly into text on a screen. I mean, that is an absolutely staggering breakthrough.
But, and this is important, the technology is still very much a work in progress. And honestly, the mistakes it makes are fascinating. Get this. When a participant thought, "I think it has the best taste," the AI spit out, "I believe it has the best player." These near misses are so cool because they give us this little window into how an AI is actually learning to interpret the language of the brain itself.
Okay, so how in the world does this actually work? Let's get into the mechanics of it. We're going to break down this incredible study, which was published in the journal Cell, and it all centers on a technology called a brain-computer interface, or BCI for short.
So at its core, a BCI does exactly what it sounds like. It creates a direct communication pathway between your brain activity and a computer. It completely bypasses the body. You can think of it like a bridge from your thoughts directly into digital action. The whole process really boils down to 3 key steps. First, these teeny tiny electrode arrays are implanted in the motor cortex. That's the part of the brain in charge of speech. Second, these electrodes just listen in, right? They record the unique patterns of brain signals that fire off when someone even thinks of a word. And third, a really powerful AI decodes those signals in real time. And the goal here, it's just profoundly human, to help people who've lost their ability to speak because of severe paralysis from conditions like ALS or a stroke.
But here's where the research gets really groundbreaking. It's not just about the hardware or the AI. It's about a fundamental discovery they made in how our brains handle the difference between thinking about speaking and actually trying to speak. The researchers found this absolutely crucial difference. Attempted speech, so that's when a person with paralysis tries to form words, that generates a really strong signal in the brain, but it's also super exhausting. Now, inner speech, just thinking the words, produces a much weaker, kind of scaled-down version of that same signal. You can literally think of it as the difference between a neurological shout and a whisper. And this discovery is a huge deal because it means a BCI could be way faster and a whole lot less tiring for people to use.
So what this all boils down to is just incredible. It means your internal monologue and your attempts to speak out loud are using a shared neural language. Your brain isn't using 2 different dictionaries, it's just speaking one of them at different volumes. And because they share that same code, a single BCI system can learn to understand both. And this discovery, this shared neural code, well, that's the key that unlocks everything. It's what makes this technology so incredibly powerful. But it's also what creates this profound dilemma, right? This tension between unbelievable promise and, frankly, some unprecedented peril.
The promise is nothing short of life-changing. For someone who is locked in by paralysis, this technology isn't just some cool gadget, it's a lifeline. It offers a way to express thoughts, to tell stories, to connect with the people they love using a vocabulary of over 125,000 words, all without the physical strain of trying to speak. It's freedom.
But here's the peril. Here's the other side of the coin. If a BCI is listening to the brain signals for speech and your inner thoughts use the exact same code, well, what's to stop it from decoding thoughts you never intended to share? The study actually found that parts of inner speech were decoded while participants were just doing other things, like silently counting in their head. And this raises a monumental question. Where does our mental privacy begin and end?
So how do you even begin to navigate that? How do you offer this incredible promise without falling into the peril? Well, for the research team, this wasn't some afterthought. They totally understood the privacy implications and decided to build the solution directly into the technology right from day one.
They came up with two really smart safeguards. The first is called imagery silence training, which basically just teaches the AI to treat all that inner chatter as background noise, as silence, unless it's told otherwise. The second is a user-controlled keyword. Think of it like a mental password that unlocks the system only when the user explicitly wants to communicate.
So what is this mental key? What unique, specific thought could a user come up with to tell the system, okay, hey, I'm talking to you now?
The solution was, well, it was as elegant as it was a little bit whimsical. The passphrase to turn on the BCI was the thought, chitty chitty bang bang. By thinking this one specific, phonetically complex phrase, the user gives explicit moment-to-moment consent for the system to start decoding their thoughts into text.
And this passphrase idea is so important because it proves that user control and consent don't just have to be abstract ideas. They can be engineered directly into the interface itself. It's a literal way of giving the user the keys to their own mind.
So ultimately, this leaves us right on the frontier of a totally new reality. As we start to merge mind and machine, we're being forced to answer questions that, until now, were just for science fiction novels. What used to be a philosophical debate is now an urgent design challenge, pushing us to define the very boundaries of our own thoughts.